Should a person with zero experience be able to tow a massive caravan, combined vehicle and caravan 7 ton, 15 meters plus long? Should you be allowed to do that without a license? Hi, I'm Ronny Dahl and welcome to a video concept that doesn't yet have a name. So I need you guys to name the video concept once you know what this is all about. And what is it all about? Well, we're definitely going to get diving into a topic that just fires me up, and that is caravanning and towing. So many people on the road just have no idea what they're doing. Should they require a license? Yes or no? A staggering 70% of you guys said yes, are in favor of bringing in a license for it. Before we dive into this touchy subject, this new video concept has a few spicy things attached to it. Toyota are bringing out a mini monster, which is blurred out right now, but you'll see it very soon. A mini version to take on the Suzuki Jimny. It's pretty cool. We'll get to that very soon. Other segments, item of the month, and what was your say? We've done some polls over at the community page. Feel free to jump over there while you're watching this and get voting away. Have your say. All right, the spicy news. Jumping into Toyota's new mini monster. Wait for it. It's called the FJ. But not just the FJ. It's called Land Cruiser FJ. Toyota registered the name in Australia, Land Cruiser FJ, which means that an FJ is a Land Cruiser. And 64% of you guys, including myself, well, we said an FJ is not a Land Cruiser, but there you go. I mean, this is a touchy subject for some.
I guess it's a bit like me putting on a Spider-Man outfit. I might look like Spider-Man, but I'm not Spider-Man.
Other people don't care.
Who gives a F?
I think he left out the J on the end of that.
Who gives a FJ?
Apparently an FJ is a Land Cruiser now.
An FJ is a Land Cruiser now.
4.5 meters long, 1.8 wide, 1.8 tall. So it's almost a cube, except for it's a bit longer, right? It's pretty tall for a little car. And this thing is going to replace the RAV4. Wait a minute. If the Land Cruiser FJ is replacing the RAV4, does that mean a RAV4 is a Land Cruiser? Because you can get a RAV4 Cruiser, I'm pretty sure. Now, the cool thing about this vehicle, it's going to be a petrol hybrid. Now, this is one of the first full drives that we know and has been confirmed by Toyota in Australia to be a petrol hybrid, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I reckon this little thing is going to be a rocket. It's a 2.5 litre petrol hybrid, making a combined 163 kilowatts and 227 newton meters of torque, but only 1,500 kilos of towing capacity. I mean, it's pretty small, right? The towing is 1,500 kilos. You know, it's remarkably the same as the RAV4, which leads me to believe that it's going to have the exact same system. So the RAV4 all-wheel drive system is right there, and it's not a four-wheel drive, it's an all-wheel drive. So now I'm actually not so excited about this car, because it's got to have true 4x4. If you're not sure what the difference is, there will be a link up here or something so you can see what the difference is between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Yeah, I guess we'll find out in 2025. I hope it's not a all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive, you can't call it a Land Cruiser. It's just, nah. It's time for me to get fired up. Around the world, there are licenses to tow anything over 750 kilos, but not in Australia. Most territories and states, day one of your license, you can hook up a Land Cruiser and a 3.5 ton caravan and go on holidays with minimal experience, with no experience, which is pretty crazy. 70% of you say there should be a license of some sort or some accredited training forced upon everyone who wants to tow a caravan. There are strong arguments for either side of this. 9% didn't care, and J-Bro had a really good comment about this.
9% don't care. They share the road with untrained drivers. This sort of training would never be wasted, might pick up a few hacks during it, and meet some cool people during training.
And you got to kind of agree with that, right? Like, you probably haven't spent time on the road with caravanners and experienced all the crap that happens out on the road, because I guarantee you go on a trip and you spend 2-3 days on the highway, you will see just stuff that just shouldn't be out there. And also the behavior of caravanners. For example, in a convoy all bunching up, and now you have to overtake the entire convoy, and you can't get hold of them because they don't have a bloody UHF radio. So you can't even talk to them. You can't even negotiate ask them to make gaps for you and all that. But anyway, that's just me getting fired up. But the main reason for me bringing this up in the first place is I've noticed over the years, 2021 in particular, and then just late last year, there have been calls by a lot of experts in the industry. There's a few names up there. They have called for action or more regulation to be placed because of all the accidents that are happening and just all the random shit that people see on the road. I mean, just people are doing some really dumb stuff. This is one I see all the time. It's a car that's not suited to tow this big ass Caravan, and their wheels are almost lifting off the ground in the front. Their steering must be so light. They're probably wondering why every truck is flashing them while they're driving on the highway. It's because their lights are shining up and not down. It's just a bloody dangerous situation. The rear squatting. I don't even know how you'd get the Caravan level when you got the camp. Anyway, beside the point, there's been calls for this for years on end. However, nothing has really happened yet, and I haven't really seen anything else pop up in WA in particular. There are nearly 1 million, close to 1 million, it's like about 800 or 900,000 of registered caravans, camper trailers and camper vans registered in Australia. That is a lot. When you consider 25 million people live in Australia, thereabouts, it's probably a lot more now, I don't know. 1 million almost have a caravan. 1 in 15 homes have a caravan registered to the household. It's also said in the industry that majority of crashes are by inexperienced people or people who have overloaded the vehicle. For example, gone over GVM on the vehicle, towing way too much behind it, or towing a vehicle that's not correct to the caravan. It's basically not having your loads correct or not knowing what you're doing. Those are the majority of the accidents. Those are the problems and issues that the industry has brought up. I personally think the biggest problem is the inexperience. But not just that, it's also, you don't learn this when you get your C-Class license. I sure as shit don't remember any of this when I went for my driver's license. I do have a heavy rigid license for driving trucks, and when you go for that, in the theory, there's a lot more to do with GCM and all this kind of stuff, and weights are much more factored in. But with a C-Class license, you generally do your driver's test in like a little shitbox. And it's light, it's nimble, it's a cheap car because everyone ruins the clutch on the driving instructor's cars. I've been yelled at a few times, I remember that. PTSD from my driving instructor. Imagine going from a little car like that, well, let's buy this big four-wheel drive and let's buy this Caravan, let's pair those up and let's go for a family holiday. And you have never towed before. It's crazy when you put it that way. It is absolutely crazy. You go from driving a car that weighs less than 2 tonne and now you are at command of 7 tonne in the vehicle, and all the other factors that come into play, how you load the caravan, how you load the car. You got your whole family in the car. If you don't really know what you're doing, should you really be driving with your whole family, entire family in the car, down the highway, risking other people's lives as well? That's where I think that something does need to happen, or at least there needs to be something available for people that they can easily go to and then sort of, get the skill. Or do what most people do. Start by towing smaller trailers and then work your way up. The first time I towed a caravan, I was shitting myself. And I consider myself to have a lot of towing experience. And I think that from towing a smaller trailer, you get a lot of skill because the drawbar is so much shorter. When you go to a caravan, they are so much easier to reverse. That's one thing. But driving them, you're kind of used to towing already. You are used to like the behavior, the mindset that you need to get ready for when you hit the highway. You know you need to allow people to go past you at certain times. You know you need to pull in and check things. You're also aware that when you hook up the caravan, you check everything. Doesn't matter if someone else has helped you, you check everything over because you are responsible. You're responsible for what you're towing. You're responsible for your occupants in the vehicle. Everyone reliant on your skill. Here are some abbreviations right next to me. Curb weight, the weight of your vehicle from factory. GVM, gross vehicle mass, the most your vehicle is allowed to weigh, including passengers. Payload of vehicle, what you have loaded into and onto the vehicle. Towing capacity, how much your vehicle can tow at max. If a trailer weighs 3 tonne dry and your tow capacity is 3 tonne, you can't tow it. You got to add the cargo. ATM, aggregate trailer mass, how much the trailer weighs with the cargo you have added. Gross combined mass. by adding vehicle, trailer, and total payload. The total weight your vehicle combined with everything can drag on the highway. If you're watching this and you don't know what they all mean, then you need to find out before you continue towing your trailer or your caravan or whatever it is you're towing. You got to know this to understand what you can actually have on your car. You got to know what they mean. You really do. The other thing that I see a lot of is the wrong car choice. People will often go and buy a car and then buy a caravan that's too big for the car, or they'll buy a massive caravan and then they'll buy a car that's too small to tow it. And this exact situation has actually happened down at George Day Caravans. I was talking to one of the guys down there, Phil. I asked him, what's the biggest problem you guys have here? And that is people coming in with a car that's not suited to the caravan itself. Not many vehicles can tow above 3 tonne. There are not many out there. You have to then really go into your Nissan Patrol sort of market or your Land Cruiser market, your bigger cars, a Ram, an F-Truck, things like that. Those vehicles are more suited to towing the bigger trailers. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't hook up a 3.5 tonne a caravan behind any of my cars. You're on your P's in Australia. You can pretty much get away with anything apart from a few states. And let's go through that right now. Tasmania, Northern Territory, on your P's, day one, you get your car, you can get a caravan, and you can tow whatever you want. If you have the right combination, you could do 7 tonnes. 7 tonnes rolling on a road with 0 experience and you just got your license. As long as you don't go over 100 k's per hour. That's all you got to worry about. In Queensland, South Australia, and WA, which is still the Wild West, there are no towing restrictions. It's pretty much the same as Tasmania and Northern Territory. You can tow whatever you like from day one in your license. It doesn't matter. The ACT, on the other hand, you can only tow up to 750 kilos. Now this is unbraked. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, to be honest, particularly on your P plates. I'm not talking about that people need to have a special license for it. I'm talking about P platers, new drivers. And in New South Wales, it's even tougher. You can only tow up to 250 kilos. That's it. That's not much at all. And it's not a bad thing for a P plate, right? In Victoria, you can't tow. You can't tow while you're on your P plates, unless there are exceptions for agricultural and work purposes. But you probably have to apply for the E plates like you can get over in WA. Anyone watching from overseas, in particular Germany, because there's been a lot of comments about, hey, in Germany, this is a law that we have.
In Germany, you need a license for towing.
Interesting discussion. Here in Germany, you need an extra license if you want to tow a trailer, which weighs more than 750 kg. In my honest opinion, it's important because big trailers are not so easy to tow or maneuver.
It probably doesn't make sense to you guys what we have here. I mean, that's crazy, right? You get your license and you borrow your dad's Land Cruiser and Caravan. It's pretty damn crazy. But then you'd have to be crazy as a father or a mother to lend your child a car and caravan combination. You probably wouldn't do it anyway. So this is extreme, right? The main problem is inexperienced people with no towing experience or no road awareness. Before I give you my thoughts on how we can fix this and do we need a license? Nah. I know most of you think we do, but I'll get to that in a sec. Here are some of the things that you guys said, and there were some really good points from both sides.
I thought I could tow pretty well, but figured it's probably worth going and doing a course as a bit of a refresher as it had been a while. Best thing I ever did. Learned so much over 2 days. Not just useful techniques to make towing easier, but also my own limitations and lack of expertise. Highly recommend it even as a bit of a refresher.
Nothing about towing is covered in getting a license, nor do people automatically learn how to tow.
Should probably have it based on length, weight. Some of these vans are so big, you should need a HRC license.
I see so many weight distribution issues on trailers in general, let alone poorly loaded vans or mismatched tow vehicle. Think you would do great setting up an online course.
So that was all the people for yes. We've got to throw in the other side of the argument too.
It's upsetting how many of you actually want more laws.
Apparently, you can see Australian regulation from space. There's so much of it.
I don't understand Australia. Y'all should be fighting for less regulations.
And that was just some of your points. There are so many more over there, so I encourage you to go over and check it out. There's some really good ideas in there as well. So here's my view. I'm not going to sit on the fence here, but I also don't agree with the 70% that it should be licensed per se, because that is going to be a logistic nightmare. How are you going to license everyone who already is out there? You can't really do that. How do you judge who is good and who is not good? In the process of actually doing that, you might as well just offer free training. So I think the government should dig into the mining tax. Dig into the mining tax. Use that money, and whoever has a trailer registered to their name, offer them free training. Offer them a free training package or the funding to do the free training. Don't give them the money, but offer them, I don't know, like a voucher or something, and then get some actual training out there. Everyone's not going to do it, but many people will probably jump at it because you're going to learn something. Like I would do it. You always learn something, right? One thing they also need to do is everyone from now on who gets the C-Class license should have to do some kind of training. Or perhaps probationary drivers from now on, once they finish on their Ps, they should then do one more course. And that course, or that driving test, is just to pass with a trailer, funded by the government. Then the roads are going to be much safer for everyone. And you're not putting restrictions and throwing licenses out to people. It's not going to cost the public something. Above all though, the caravan industry also can play a big hand into this. When you come in and you're looking for a caravan or a camper trailer, it's probably a good idea to kind of educate the people on it. Maybe hand them a bloody pamphlet or something at least. Here's some reading, take this home. You got your GVM, your GCM, your ATM, what can your car do to tow the trailer? Do you have the right car for the trailer? I mean, you should really not sell someone a 3-ton caravan to someone who's driving an MUX or something, something that can't tow that amount of weight should not be even like considered to be a sale. However, people want to make money at the end of the day, and they'll do it in whichever way they want to. It's like a dodgy car salesman selling a dodgy car. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants his paycheck. So it'd be good if a lot of the caravan industry gets on board and actually goes, hey, hang on, man. You shouldn't be towing that trailer with that. Perhaps that one. So, to license or not to license? That is the question. Tell me down below. And this month, this is what you guys had to say. And there were some really interesting, stats that came back. We already know about the FJ, so we'll blast past that. And then there's the main topic, the caravan. 70% yes. But moving on to which four-wheel drive would you like to see me test drive next time? A lot of people said the INEOS Grenadier and also the new Prado with the 20 or 48 volt. But there are so many comments. The Suzuki Jimny. I'm intrigued. Why is there so many people that like the Suzuki Jimny? Is there a lot of short people watching this? Probably shouldn't have said that. The other stats, and this resulted in an actual video, how many people understand their tyre pressure? Turns out most people don't, which I found surprising. Look, I don't expect majority of the population to know that they even need to lower their tyres, but I thought that a lot of viewers that watch this channel would know that. So that's what I found really interesting, which is why we made this really basic video about four-wheel driving. Because often we forget about the basic stuff, and there's a lot of new people that come into the channel all the time. Now for item of the month. Now it was just going to be one item. My Nebo lantern. Favorite light at camp. Always use it. Can hang it up. But something just got sent to me the other day. My mate Jamie, because we had a conversation at one of the full drive shows. He got one of his friends from their company, JTS 12 volt, I think it was sent from. Outback Embers. This is like an emergency light. So if something happens on the road, like you're changing your tire or your wheel comes off, which is the conversation that I was talking to him about, and he talked about these lights and I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, look, I just used one of these and to alert people on the road, because we were on a blind corner downhill and wheel had come off the car and we're kind of sitting in a very precarious, but it wasn't a good spot we were sitting. It was wet as well, so people were flogging around the corner, but having a light at the top kind of helped it. But this would attract more attention and would have been lighting up the trees on the side and stuff as well from the light that comes out of this thing. It's got multiple settings, magnetic, and I think that's a bloody good idea. So Jamie, thanks for seeing this through, and this is definitely something that I would recommend that everyone has in their car in case of an emergency. Say your wheel comes off. Or you're just changing a tyre, or you're helping someone else out. Still figuring out all the settings. I don't even know what setting I would use out there. Use that one? I'll probably go that one. Shit. Anyway, that was the new video concept. Give it a name, please, and we'll see what we come up with next month.